Today I'm going to be giving my first impressions on Slimedude2003 by Protect. I've been really messing with this guy's music, like Fall Guys, Think About Ya, I think it's called Keisha, you know what I'm saying? So that's the stuff I know. We're gonna give this one a try. This is 12-song album, 24 minutes. So this is like right in the Goldie zone. I guess we'll just get right in with song number 1, Raft Trench. Here we go. Beautiful start so far, I'll say that. What? I'm not a fan of the bass too. I feel like it's just like a little bit too weak maybe. If you're not ball hog, then die. I gotta be honest, I do like that. What? Kind of sounds like, oh, hold up a sec. What the heck? I just found a dime? We're finding dimes out here? That's crazy. Oh, I'm gonna pocket that. Alright, that's not funny. There's like this delay on his vocals, and it's a very strong delay. It repeats everything he says just one singular time, so it's not, I guess, what you would call like a standard delay. I think it kind of takes away from what he's saying, because I can't understand what he's saying. And listen, I'm trying not to come across as a boomer. You don't need to understand what someone's saying, but I guess what I'm just trying to say is that delay, it's not doing it for me. It doesn't ruin the vocals, but it takes away from it. Beat's fire. The only thing I would say about the beat, maybe the 808's a little too smooth for my liking. I guess it's just not as punchy as I would typically expect an 808 to be, but I think that's this guy's style, so that's not necessarily a knock, but it's kind of a knock. It's a little bit of a knock. The quality of his vocals might be missing a little bit. There's something there. It almost sounds not necessarily like it's clipping, but it's standing out to me. I'll say this, it does not feel like an intro track. I like the outro though. The outro was kind of nice. All right, so this is song number 2, Firearm.
I know everything about
you. Hey, this one's really neat right off the bat.
Fuck you, O'Reilly. If you're not ball hog, then die.
Love the intro. This is how I expect the Protect song to sound like. Yo, that was clean outro. I like that outro a lot. I think, listen, I gotta say it lasted like probably 3 seconds, a little too long. I like the fade out, but like, I don't think I needed to hear those hi-hats echo those last 4 times, you know what I'm saying? From the perspective of someone who's gonna add this to their playlist, it leaves like a little bit of dead space. And real quick, if you're not ball hog, then die. That was solely missing in the first song. This is what I expected a Protect song to sound like. Those vocals, love auto-tune, man. I cannot get enough of auto-tune. If I could, I'd install an auto-tune microprocessor in my throat, pause, because I would love to talk in auto-tune or just like turn it on, pause, like anytime I'd like to, but the intro, I know everything about you. Yeah, I probably didn't need that. That's creepy. Definitely had some like Mimo for real vibe. This was a really nice intro. Those vocals going everywhere, the chopped up, echoey stuff. Very interesting. I love the melody, the bell melody that played throughout the whole thing. And this 808, much better. It felt like an older 808, like something you'd hear in like 15? I don't know, 2015 808? Who cares? We bringing it back. Let's get into number 3, which is called Zeros.
Slow, got the racks in the couch. Fall like a hoe, we get punched in his mouth. Zeros on zeros, all in my hoes. Voice took yes, so I go take. True to my name.
Vocals sounded like offbeat a little there. Okay, another fade out intro, and like right now there's still 5 seconds left. So there, it's done. Yeah, okay, again on the outro, I think the fade out's just a little too long. It doesn't do the song any service, I'll say that. This song definitely wasn't my favorite. Probably my least favorite so far. I don't really like when the 808 just stays on a single note. I really like when it's just bouncing around, popping, it's hitting those high notes, low notes. I like a lot of melodic stuff, I'll say that. This song wasn't it for me. Even the beat on its own, and one thing I noticed throughout the whole song was the drums. The drums were pretty on point. The sound selection too was pretty pinpoint. I kind of like the, almost like a little bit of arcadey kind of drums, crunchier snares. Hi-hat sounded normal, I guess. The only thing I would change about the beat, honestly, was probably just make it a little faster. I think that would save the beat a little bit. Other than that, the melodies were okay, but this is a 3-minute song. It does get a little repetitive at some points. It definitely feels like a loop. I'm sure it isn't a loop. On the first listen, I couldn't really hear the ear candy, I guess. I couldn't hear what was changing, what was coming in, what was coming out. Also, the vocals at some point near the end, it sounded like they were kind of going off beat, which I didn't think worked for this song. You know, I'm reminded of Blueface when a lot of people used to call out Blueface for his stuff being offbeat. That can work. Offbeat stuff can work, but near the end of this, it kind of just felt like the production was kind of loosening up, especially on the vocals, and it took away from the song for sure, those offbeat vocals. The laid-back tone of the vocals definitely work. I have no problem with that. I think a fire song can have just an artist sounds like he's laying in a lazy boy or lazy girl. Let's just hear the intro real quick. Yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan of it just bopping right into the song. It can work. I don't think this is one of those beats where it works. Let's get into song number 4, Makatussin. Don't know how to pronounce that.
Early as fuck. Lunch or something. The fuck up, Chris.
What? Coolest beat.
I got caught. I was speeding for a market session. I got him on me like bus burning college.
I don't think that clap worked. Damn. Okay, that's my favorite song so far. Definitely adding that one to all my playlists. The intro to that is just so good. You know, whatever that was really good. This beat, definitely like a 9.6 out of 10. The only thing I would change is the clap. It just didn't fit the rest of the drums. It was a little too maybe like dry and clear. I think it needed more punch. The vocals on this were like peak underground rage, whatever you call it. Barely audible, cannot tell what he's saying. You definitely got to check out the lyrics. Let's real quick, are there lyrics? Yeah, there's no lyrics, so you got to figure this out on your own though, bro. This is exactly what I'm looking for in the 808. 808's just bumping around like boom, 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 boom. Wouldn't change anything about the melodies. Definitely my favorite so far. Added to all my playlists. I mess with this one a lot. All right, let's get into song number 5, Whole Crowd.
She say that she on her way. She where my hoodie, where my baby. 100,000, okay. Trash house in the morning,
I've noticed there's no kick. It really just jumps right into it, and I don't think it works for this song. The only time I could think of this reliably working is by OK. Yeah, I think OK is the only one that can pull that off. Starting the beat off instantly and making it work. I don't think it worked for this one. I don't think I've heard a kick yet. Not necessarily a bad thing, but I think this song specifically definitely suffers from a little lack of punch, and I think the drums are just a little bit too simple. Vocals were on point. I listened to the beat primarily. It's kind of tough for me to pay attention to the beat as well as the lyrics. Most of the time I hear the beat as well as the voice just acting as another instrument. Like I hear the melodies of the beat. Very rarely do I hear the actual words. Delivery was fire, the vocals. The beat, I think it suffered a little bit from its simplicity, more on the drums. I think it gets a little too repetitive after a time. Like the last song, as far as I can remember, it was pretty repetitive, but it's 1 minute and 20 seconds. You can forgive it for being 1 minute, 20 seconds. It's got an idea to show you. The artist has something to say, and then we'll get it over with. If we're not gonna do a lot of transitions and a lot of variations in the arrangement, let's just get it one and done. This one is about 2.5 minutes. A little too long for what the beat was, but there were a few moments in the vocals where he would like go up, and I really like when he does that. He does that on a few other songs. It's kind of rare when he does it. Let's get into song number 6, Reefer. Reefer. I'm sure it's pronounced Reefer, but it's definitely pronounced Reefer. Anyways, let's get right into it.
I'ma drive down with 2 guns. I'ma drive down just like Leon. In the spaceship cool like Elon. She'll follow me to buy her new ones. Slice on the Glock, it look like
I feel like the bass did just something interesting. This song has a similar criticism to the last one, where I think it suffers a little bit from little simple drums, because for most of the song, all you hear is the hi-hats and the snare, which I like the sound selection on both. I'm left wanting more during the beat. Once Protect stops, then the beat comes in. Why did all those drums come in afterwards? You know, I think the drums, with a lot more stuff going on, as well as the artist, I think those would have worked well together, so I'm not a huge fan of that decision. But I like the melody on this. I like the length. It's like a lot of other ones on this album. It doesn't really change too much, so this is a perfect length for that. I'm pretty sure he rhymed the same rhyme throughout the whole song, which is pretty cool. I like when that's done, because it does take a lot of creativity and a lot of effort to do that. But it felt like he said Leon like 8 times. So like whoever this Leon is, he must be strapped. Like I think he's got guns like Leon, he's got chains like Leon. If you're gonna rap the same rhyme every time, well, just like that, I think you should switch it up like I just found a dime. Yo, maybe I'm just not in the know. Maybe you gotta know ball to get that. Also, I haven't heard if you're not ball hog, then die. It's been a little bit. I think it could have used a little bit more melodic variation. Like I feel like we heard the the whole time. Let's get into song number 7, What Doesn't Kill You. See, I feel like right about now is when a kick would really kind of elevate it, but
Not ball hog and
This song starts just getting right into it, just like a Net Spend song or an OK beat. I think it really works for this one. This song definitely has some variety into it. Like there's kind of like, not necessarily a breakdown, but kind of a rest. The vocals stop, a few of the melodic components kind of duck away for a sec, and it kind of gives you some breathing room. It was almost a breath of fresh air to just hear some variety in the beat. You know, like I don't feel like I've gotten that from the previous songs. There's no kick. I don't think there needs to be a kick. It's just painfully obvious that there's no kick. Now, does that mean that the song would be better with a kick? I don't know. I'd honestly have to hear it. But really good outro. Let's get into song number 8 called Reset.
I need a reset.
Not expecting experimental vibes.
I need a reset. How about I play?
Okay, damn, this song was a lot more experimental than I was ever expecting to be on this album, so that was kind of a crazy W. I really like the production on a lot of this. Like, there was some points where even the 808 kind of was reversed, and I think the vocals really work on this. The only thing with this beat that I'd have a problem with is the snare. It sounded random for no reason. A lot of the other sounds, like, I could forgive for sounding random. Just a little bit more traditional snare would have done the trick. A problem I have with a lot of experimental music is, like, it's kind of hard to like catch a vibe to. I get that's kind of the point of it, but the song is very much palatable for me, at least. It just, those snare was standing out to me as like, okay, it feels like you went out to make an experimental song, randomly clicked in a pattern that was not traditional. It would have just made it a little bit easier for me to catch a vibe and like bob my head to without having to mentally keep track of where I am. That's my only complaint. I really like the experimental vibes though. It was a pleasant surprise. It just felt a little random at times, a little like I'm trying to be experimental. Let's get into song number 9 called AC-130. Really love that so far. This is gonna be fire. I can just picture it dropping. Okay, was not expecting that. That kind of disappointed me just a little.
I just a some cheese, look at I get the blue and the green. Say she love me like work like the grudge. Talk on me like I'm fudge. Shout out AC-130 above. Shout out AC-130 above.
The beat drop definitely caught me off guard. It almost gave off the vibe of like, that's enough effects, bro. Honestly, I do think it really worked. The only thing that didn't was the chant. It's an old effect. Again, it's been a little bit since I've heard If You're Not Ball Hog, Then Die. I'm kind of disappointed it's not on every track because I think that plays in my head when I sleep. There was a point where you're like hesitating to say something. Just sounded super nice, super clean. All right, let's get on to song number 10, Skater. I do think I've heard this song before. Yeah, this song's fire.
Fine stuff, get it together. New pack, it came in the mailer. Yeah, I can't bet all the time he got 6 cents. Just hop on my money, now I'm 6'10". I'm sorry, road is what I feel better. I get on my grind, I'm a fucking skater.
The drums on this one were probably the most complete out of any song. It just sounded all filled out. I did hear that chant though, and at one point it hits like, ja, 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 like 3 times in a row, and it was like, can we take that out? Can we take that out, please? Man, the sample, whatever the melody is, I'll play the start. Whatever that is, it sounds really, really beautiful. Works really well in this song. But his delivery, like, get it together, just so good. 10 out of 10, peak. One thing I noticed, and it kind of stood out to me, is the line where it was like, she throw that ass and I'ma catch it, something like that. That is one of the only times where I've audibly been able to hear some kind of like sexual lyric. Just so y'all know, I hate that. I hate that with a passion. I think my least favorite part about rap and hip hop as a genre is how much sexual lyrics and sexualization, all that's present in the music. I cringe every time I hear something like that. And thankfully this line was very tame. And again, this is the first time I've heard it in the whole album. So definitely props to you, man. I hate that stuff. I'm really glad it's not here. I think it's low-key damaging. I mean, I don't mean to sound like a Christian Mormon here, but I literally think that's very damaging stuff to just be hearing. And rap and hip hop, it's like a younger person's genre, I think. At least I heard it when I was really young, 2016. So I was around like 15 when I started listening to this kind of stuff. Not like it really changed me or messed me up, but I just think it's that kind of stuff that you just hear constantly and it's bad and it's not good. And this is kind of a side tangent, but just on my own, when I'm trying to freestyle and come up with lyrics and stuff, I find myself defaulting to a lot of this stuff that I've already heard. And I'll end up saying stuff like fuck these hoes or other type of stuff like that. That's just something I wouldn't actually want to put in my own song, but my brain's just defaulting to it because I've just heard it so much. So I'm glad that it's not appearing in this album as much, or even if it is, I'm glad I can't understand it. You know, I'm glad I can't understand it on a first watch. I was glad the one time I heard it, it was tame. It wasn't super vulgar. It just said ass and catching ass. Like, that's kind of a metaphor in a way, like if you catch ass. So I'm okay with that. Very much a side tangent, but was something I didn't think about earlier, which is kind of nice. It's kind of nice that I'm 10 songs in and I'm first time hearing one of these lyrics. So let's get into song number 11 called Last of Us.
Drugs, I don't feel it yet. New number, you get green text. Time to kill. SRT, where that will, where that cool. Hot. It's only me, my brothers. It's the last of us.
That last 1 second, 2 seconds of the song, I really like that. There was a really cool effect where the drums like ducked out, but the melody stayed. Those are the kind of outros that I wish were prominent throughout a lot of this album. A lot of the times it kind of just, it either has like a pretty standard basic end, which I'm perfectly fine with, or a really long fade out, which hasn't happened too much in the latter half of the album, thankfully. The drums in this one were also really good. I didn't hear the chant anywhere, so that's a W right off the bat. But another thing, since I brought up one of the things I don't like in a lot of rap lyrics, this song kind of reminded me of another one, and while we're on the topic, I might as well just go for it. A lot of the gun violence and gang stuff, again, not a big fan of that. And you might be able to make the argument that that's kind of where the genre started from. I really don't know if that's true. I just feel like I've seen a lot of that talk online. I really just wish, though, we would kind of work away from that. Again, a lot of young people listen to this. I don't know. I really wish we could kind of ditch a lot of that. I'll still listen, vibe to, bounce, and recite lyrics that talk about blowing people down or, you know, popping on the block or whatever the hell, slang and drugs. But that's just kind of stuff that I wish we could phase out, move past, and talk about other things. Thought I might as well get that out because there were a few lines that kind of stood out to me that I listened to. Again, I'm not gonna look at the song negatively because of that, but I thought it was just important to bring up because I mentioned it before. Might as well get it all out here, so type shit. Let's get on to the last song here, Yuda 1.
Jacob, I love you, Jacob.
We got big bullets trying to hit a nigga. You can make an impact, just do it, nigga. I was at home when the girl swallow me. Wanna be a ball hog, follow me. These nigga music's so clear.
If you're not ball hog, then die.
Get away, oh my god, you gon' do it. Let me know when the house be. Diamonds on my neck, I be trying to need me. Why these niggas tryna clown me? Probably cause they don't got money. I was down, you found me. Now I'm up and I'm shining me.
Jacob, I love you, Jacob.
This is definitely the best beat of the whole album. It's so obviously a sample, but like, wow, not a bad thing. It works so well. The 808 is just so like punchy and not even punchy, but it's almost got like a little bit of fuzz. Like it's distorted like the tiniest little bit, or like the saturation is turned down on the compressor. I don't know, but it just has that sound that just like I like it. Everything was on fire with this. The time where it was like, my favorite part was when he said ball hog like 4 times in the song. Love that. I had to add my own tag in. Let's just talk about the track list here. 12 songs, 24 albums. That's an average of literally 2 minutes a song, which is just like in the exact sweet spot. It was mostly what I was expecting for a Protect album. There was a few kind of stragglers in there that I wasn't expecting. Like, I didn't expect you to get as experimental as you were, and maybe that's just because I don't know a lot of your discography. Really impressive stuff. I really like this. It is very painfully obvious that there's no kick throughout the entire album. And when I say painfully obvious, in my head, that means I noticed when I was expecting a kick to come in and it wouldn't. And I just don't know why. I don't understand why there wasn't a kick anywhere. And now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of your previous songs that I listened to might be like that. Real quick, let's talk about the cover art. It appears to be Bro standing with a blue shirt with a big old fuzzy hat on. in some kind of, what is that? I don't know, like tall grass, like dead grass or something like that. Does this relate to the actual album? Not that I can see. It's a cool picture. I mean, it shows off what bro looks like. I mean, he's just kind of standing there looking off in the distance. He's got that drip on, I guess. He's got his high school shirt on. I don't know if there's any reason for that. Maybe it's about, I mean, it says Slimedude2003, so I'm assuming that's like the year he was born. The high school, maybe that kind of relates to that. Like maybe it's about going back to his roots, so that's why this grass is there, but it's dead. I don't know. I don't quite see the correlation. It's a decent cover art, but I don't think it's like obviously for this album. I wouldn't be able to associate the two. Like if you played the album and then showed me a list of cover arts, I don't think I'd be able to pick this one out. And I feel like that kind of takes away from it a little bit. I think cover art's really important, so that's kind of why I'm saying all this. I guess my overall points, the vocals on this were pretty much peak the whole time through, except for that one song that had the delay that I mentioned. But everything else was just exactly what I was expecting. Really good Protect vocals. Melodies all the way through were pretty solid, except for a few songs where it just felt like a lot of just straight loops. But that was more like front half of the album was like that. I didn't notice that as much as we went on. Also, talking about the front half, I also think the drums were just a little too basic at some points. Again, as we got into the later songs, especially this last one, the drums definitely sounded a little more interesting and filled out the beat a little more. I think the earlier stuff, it was kind of basic patterns, just hi-hat and clap. I think it could have used a little more in the beginning. Sound selection all through for the drums I think was really good, except for a few instances that I pointed out, as well as the chant. I would delete the chant entirely. So that was my first impressions on Slimedude2003 by Protect. You let me know below what you guys thought, if you agree, if you disagree. And also, if you have any new albums you want me to check out, drop that below. All the links to Protect and all of his other stuff, I'm going to try and find as many links as I can and drop that down below. And I will see you guys next time, all right? Peace out.